Picture this, if you will. It's a quiet evening, you're sitting by the radio, tuning through different stations when you suddenly hear something strange. A mechanical voice, cold and emotionless, starts reading out random numbers. 4, 18, 21, 35, 9. Or maybe it's a child's voice, or a robotic beep. There's no music, no context, just numbers. Welcome to the bizarre world of number stations. So number stations are this weird phenomenon that I heard about. Phenomenon? It's a weird phenomenon that I heard about a little bit ago. One of my favorite channels, the Y-Files, actually had a video on it. And I'm sure I heard the video when it came out. But I was rewatching some older stuff and it came up again. And that's when I was like, yo, maybe I should cover a video on this too. It's pretty creepy, actually. It kind of reminds me of Siren Head for some reason. And I don't mess with Siren Head. That's probably one of the creepiest, like, I think it's a creepypasta, but that's like one of the creepiest ones they've made. Like Slenderman, he's weird. The Rake, that's creepy. But Siren Head, hell no. So we're going to cover this. It's kind of weird. It reminds me of like some weird, like old time war propaganda, and that's probably what it was from, is like these old war times. Like old ways of communicating in encrypted messages. So we're going to look into why they still exist and why they still are active even. Like, it's not that they're just around. They still continue to put out messages, which is weird. And you can still sometimes hear them. Number stations are a mysterious radio broadcast that have been baffling listeners for decades. These broadcasts, typically found on shortwave radio frequencies, consist of seemingly random strings of numbers, letters, or just sounds. They often follow a precise pattern, and many are repeated on a regular schedule. That was one of the things that they mentioned too, is that they don't just continuously play audio, they actually are on a set schedule too. So I don't know if maybe in the 30s they set these weird schedules and then just forgot about them. That's a weird thing to forget about for 90 years. The signals can be heard from almost anywhere in the world. I actually didn't know that. I thought it was only like specific places. And anyone with a shortwave radio can pick them up. But here's the thing. No one knows exactly who's behind them or why they exist. Are they a relic of Cold War espionage? Probably. I feel like the CIA is behind this. Just pick a 3-letter government agency. They're probably behind it. A way for governments to communicate with undercover agents, or somehow even more sinister? I don't know. I want to believe that it's not sinister, but I also want to believe that it is, because I would just make the story a lot better. Most common theory about number stations is that they were created during the Cold War as a way for governments to send secret messages to spies without leaving a digital trail. Shortwave radio is incredibly hard to track, and when combined with a simple one-time pad cipher, these number sequences could be nearly impossible to crack, especially without our modern computer software too. Like, actually, I wonder if we could figure it out now. I'm sure someone's tried, but like, how would you know without a current source if you were right or not? You know, I guess before at least you could deduce it. Like if there was an active war zone going on and then you found this weird like radio message, you could probably, with a modern computer, break it down and figure out what it meant. But now it's like, it's just a random source in a random place in the world at a random time. It's not like, oh yeah, this is talking about the bridge over there that we were talking about storming earlier. Yeah, it's probably about that. We don't know now. Spy agencies in both the East and West likely used number stations to communicate encrypted messages to operatives behind enemy lines. Even if someone intercepted the broadcast without the cipher key, the message would be meaningless. Yeah, that's fair. But the strange thing is, these broadcasts didn't stop with the end of the Cold War. They continued, and they're still out there. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is why they still exist and who operates them, if anybody. Like, is it just a tower in the middle of nowhere that no one knows exists and it's just broadcasting? They didn't have solar energy back then, so it's got to be wired to something, right? Over the years of, actually, whoa, hold that thought. What if they did have solar? Because you know how the government's like 30 years ahead? That's like the common like understanding is that the government is like 20 or 30 years ahead of consumers. Like, oh, we have an iPhone. Like, well, they're already like typing away on their wrists. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have electric cars. They have flying cars, or at least the tech for it. They probably aren't making cars. It's probably like fighter planes and stuff, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what if they did have solar? And these are literally just in the middle of random mountains or something. And they're just operating on their own because they're powered by the sun and nobody knows they're there, but they just continue to be powered. What if Bigfoot is actually hosting this show? he's all putting his DJ stuff on. He cracks his knuckles. He goes to start playing on the DJ board. He's like 1, 18, 39, 12, 9. First up, we have the Lincoln. Wait a minute, hang on, I skipped a part. Over the years, a few number stations have become particularly infamous among radio enthusiasts. First up, we have the Lincolnshire Poacher, named after the traditional English folk song that plays at the beginning of each broadcast. The station was believed to originate from a British military base in Cyprus and was active throughout the 70s and 80s. Each broadcast began with a snippet of a song, followed by a woman's voice reading out sets of 5 numbers.
3, 9, 7, 1, 5.
What was it broadcasting and to whom? No one knows for sure, but many believe it was sending a message to British spies. Those damn Brits. It's probably a tea recipe.
Would you like a spot of tea? You? Yes. Would you like a spot of tea? Yes.
Next, we have the most enduring and weirdest number station out there, the buzzer, also known as UVB76. This Russian station emits a constant buzzing sound, interrupted occasionally by a voice reading a series of numbers or names. That one actually would be pretty weird. Whoa, that was weird. Some believe it's a doomsday communication system, while others think it's a form of military communication. I mean, if they've been talking about doomsday, they're pretty late. We're definitely due if that's the case. But whatever it is, it's still active today. Then there's the E10, also known as the Mossad number station. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It's believed to be operated by Israel's intelligence service, and it broadcasts consistent computerized voices, usually female, reading out strings of Hebrew letters. It's suspected that the station was used to communicate with Israeli agents, but the mystery surrounding it is just as deep as the others.
Kilo, Papa, Alpha, Golf, 1, Oscar, 2, Oscar, 3.
Now we're gonna get into the theories. The theories. So what are the stations really for? The prevailing theory is espionage. But maybe like any other mystery, there are plenty of other ideas out there. Espionage. The most popular explanation is that number stations are part of secret government communication networks used to send messages to agents in the field. I like to think that. Like, I mean, why else would you have it still on? Like, I don't know, maybe to find your location or something. Yo, what if? Damn. All right, here's my theory. All right, I don't see this on here, so here's my theory. What if they sent soldiers to the future from the past, and they use those number stations just like they would have way back in the Cold War? They're using it now. Like, there's just secret Cold War agents just walking amongst us, and they hear this message, and they're like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm in the right location, or to continue doing my mission into the future, or whatever, right? Like, why else would you keep it running still, you know? What if there's something being planned? What if we never left the Cold War? Whoa, slow down. You need to slow down. Next one is the dead hand system. Some believe that stations like the buzzer are part of what's known as a dead hand system, a last resort communication in case of a nuclear attack. That also is kind of cool, but it would also come back to like, it's powered by something, right? So what if there was a nuclear war or an EMP blast or something? Like, it's got to be powered on its own independently, you would think, unless there's an underground base connected to it, maybe. Psychological operations. Some people think that these stations might be decoys designed to confuse and intimidate. Yeah, I mean, confuse, sure, but mostly because there's no explanation for it. It's not that it's, well, maybe some of them are kind of creepy, actually. Supernatural or alien theories. And of course, because we can't have literally anything without it being also related to aliens, which I like. Moon landing didn't happen. Maybe there's something out there. Everything from extraterrestrial signals to communications from parallel dimensions. That's actually kind of cool. While these are far less likely, how do you know? How do you know? Almost robotic quality of broadcasts definitely fuels the imagination. Believe it or not, number stations are still active today. That was the whole point of this talk, actually. While some of the famous ones have disappeared or changed frequencies, new ones occasionally pop up. That's weird. That there's still new ones, actually. I thought they were all old. Radio enthusiasts, also known as DXers, dedicate their time to finding and tracking these stations. In fact, you could grab your shortwave radio right now and possibly stumble upon one yourself. Websites like Priom.com, Priom? And the Enigma group keep track of active stations and their frequencies. If you're curious and want to explore this mystery yourself, all you need is a radio, some patience, and maybe a little courage. Yeah, see, I'm not going to just go sit in my car and wait for one of these. That's creepy as shit. I feel like if it comes through your speakers, it's hacked you. Like now you're plugged in. Now they know about you. Forget about my smartphone in my pocket at all times. Once I play this radio, that's it. The truth is, we may never know the full story behind number stations. Are they just relics of a bygone era, or are they still being used by the secret communications to this day? One thing is certain, number stations represent one of the last great mysteries of the airwaves. In an age of digital surveillance and mass communication, these old, crackling broadcasts remind us that some secrets are still hidden in plain sight. That's number stations for you. Hopefully you have enough information to kind of come up with your own theory. I'm pretty sure the time travel thing is like the most logical reasoning here. Like it literally can't be anything else at this point. The only other thing it could be is aliens, obviously. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Now we're going to be doing different stories like this. So drop a comment down below if you liked it, disliked it, let me know why. And if you have other stories you want me to cover, also drop those, because I'm constantly looking for new weird stuff. Like that's just really what I like. So let me know down below. And as always, drink water, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.